Hello, everyone. We have lovely Emily Malerich here, and we'll talk about something I don't know anything about it, and this is modeling.
Happy
Uh,
to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
yeah, I usually start with a simple question. What was your business idea and how does it change the world? But I think it's a little different here. When do you realize that you want to be a model and started and you say, okay, let's do that. Or have you tried several things before that?
When I was in high school, I had an interest, and I had a photographer that was doing, high school photos for, senior portraits and things like that. And he suggested that I give it a shot. And I had a girlfriend who was very beautiful,
Mhm.
much prettier than I was, I believe. And so she and I went to a couple of open model casting calls, and nothing really ever came of it. Growing up in Texas, there are a lot of beautiful women, I believe. And so I just went off to college and didn't give it much thought. And then about a year ago, I met a beautiful girl named Tiffany in the pool at my local gym. And she asked me if I was a model. And I laughed very hard, as I am now 46 years of age. And I thought maybe I was having a practical joke being played on me, because as I'm heading towards 50, I couldn't even believe it. But she encouraged me to get into modeling. She actually is a photographer and a former modeling agent, and is spent a lot of her time in California doing that. And within a few months, I had an agent. I was very blessed and started modeling with a modeling and talent agency, Entourage, out of Austin, Texas. I'm very, very lucky and very blessed. And I've been doing that 1 year this week. So, uh,
That's a crazy story. I don't believe. Tiffany Colbert, is that?
Tiffany Corbett,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, she was one of my guests here.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Oh, I loved her. So, 1 year, okay. And how do you like it? And what was the struggles at the beginning, and how do you like it now?
So it has been an interesting year. Getting ready to take my annual photos. You have to take photos about each year because things can change, can fluctuate with your weight. Your hair can change drastically, and so you need to keep everything current for potential jobs and things. So I'm getting ready to do that in a couple of days. It has been a bit of a roller coaster. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really have any high expectations going into this because, as I told you, I am, quite a bit older than what you would consider for a typical model. They're what I would consider a typical model. They're teenagers, 20s, they're much, much younger. So I was just kind of interested to see how things would go for me. I've been blessed. I've had 3 jobs over the past year, and I've had 12 auditions for things ranging from a principal role in a movie to commercials, local, statewide, web, and some. One was, I believe, a national commercial for pharmaceuticals, all different kinds of things. So it's been some ups and downs, and you just kind of have to really kind of roll with it. It was a completely new experience for me with my field, my primary background being in healthcare IT. So
Oh,
it, my side hustle of modeling has been a completely new experience for me.
I like that, especially if you do it at this kind of age. I think it's really not common, or is it?
It is not. It it is not.
Love it.
So I'm it's I have met a couple of models who are around my age, and it's great because we've kind of formed a nice little group and camaraderie, and so we
Hmm.
can kind of lean on each other and go to each other for tips and tricks since we're navigating this field at this age in our life. We're both mothers with small children. We both have our own jobs, and we're kind of like um, bouncing ideas off of each other and seeing what works, and going to each other and saying, how would you audition for this role,
Hmm.
and how would you um, go out for this audition, you know things like that. So it's been really fun, and it's
Hmm.
been a bit scary at times
I
with a
believe.
lot of much younger people, much hipper people out
Mm.
there in the world. So it's a little
So
bit different.
it's like a full job right now, or is it still a side hustle?
Oh, it's definitely part-time for me
Hmm.
because it I could get an audition request once a month or once a week. And so I work a full-time job for a national healthcare um, organization
Hmm.
that's all over the United States and services different hospital chains. And so I do that, 9 to 5, if you will,
Hmm.
and work from home. And so that allows me to do auditions in the off time
Hmm.
or on the weekends and things like that. And
Hmm.
so I have a lot of flexibility in my time, which makes it great. Make a little extra money on the side.
Yeah. So what would you say is the most frustrating and most satisfying thing about this modeling?
I think the most rewarding part of it is getting to go and have a lot of fun on the job and getting to have a lot of new experiences and getting to meet a lot of new people, being on sets, um, getting to experience things that I might never have gotten to experience before. Um, and I would say the most challenging or the most not so fun part of the business is constantly auditioning and putting a lot of effort into going out for roles or going off after jobs and being having the rejection, if you will,
Hmm.
because I would say that 99% of the time you really don't know why that you didn't get a certain job.
Hmm.
And it can be for any number of reasons
Yeah.
that are completely beyond your control.
Hmm.
A director might, change course of what they're looking for,
Hmm.
and it may have absolutely nothing to do with how you auditioned, or how you looked, or how you spoke. They could lose their budget. They could choose to go a different direction, but you will never find out why. And
Yeah.
so you just kind of have to pick your head up and try again next time. So that's probably the most challenging is putting in all that work and effort and then never really understanding or finding out um, what had happened.
Great.
Getting any feedback, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that. Because I work with a lot of startups that seek for funding, and there's quite similar because you can pitch your product or service, and you could be the best of in this, but you usually don't. From some people, you do have a great feedback. They say, "Okay, this sucks. I don't like this. I don't like this." But most of the time, especially if you're uh, seeking for the funding from some European nations or things like that, you don't get and you don't know what have you done wrong or how could you be better next time.
Correct.
Yeah.
To know what could you improve upon, what was missing,
Yeah.
you know, did you not have the correct look, did you not send the right lines at the right time, did you not anything.
Or just
So
the director had a bad day.
correct.
Yeah.
Were they looking for a dark haired girl and you're a blonde,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So
So,
um,
what would you say is like you expected, and what is completely different than you expected to be?
um, I would say that meeting the people on the jobs, everyone is so lovely and nice in certain cases. I have found that walking into um, some of these jobs, everyone is just so lovely and friendly, and I hadn't quite expected such grace and friendly people. And that is one tip I would say for any people or any um, guys and gals who are interested in getting into this field. One of the most important things for a future model is always, always be kind to anyone from the bottom up on a set. It doesn't matter whether it's a makeup artist or a lighting technician to a director, because everyone talks on a set.
Hmm.
And if you were to be rude or abrupt with anyone, that will get back and you could potentially lose a job in the future. And so that is one thing that I've learned from other models and other people in the industry is this is the same industry as any other, is you're to be professional and kind to anyone you come into contact with, just as you would be with any other business that you work in. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
one
great.
tip.
Yeah, great. So, where when we are at the tips, what would you suggest someone who would try to do this? How to get into this world?
So there are very few people who are lucky enough to get into modeling. I am told it's about 5% who can actually sign with an agency and get representation. But the first step would be to look in your local market. So if you're from um, a larger town or municipality, is to go ahead and research what kind of agencies there are in that and where you live. If you live in a small town, you would need to go outside of that and see where there are representation. Look in what they're looking for, and you can see what their classifications are for submitting. And you can do your research like that. That's all that I did. I got my tips from Tiffany Corbett, like I mentioned, and she gave me all kinds of advice. And then ultimately, I did my own research. Austin, Texas had two agencies at the time. I thought about going to Dallas because they have larger and more agencies there, but I thought stay local because I'm a mother of three, including a set of twins. And like I said, I have a full time job. So I thought, stay local. Austin is also a large movie hub. So I figured that there would be plenty of business in my own town.
Mhm.
So it pays to do your research. That would be my first and most important tip to someone who's looking to get into the modeling industry. First, decide what it is you're interested in, whether you want to do, say, print work, like if you want to work in magazines, things like that, or if you're more interested in doing commercials, movie work. Find out what is going on in your area. You may have to consider relocating. So find out what is available in your area and see if that appeals to you.
So, did you have any professional coaching or help apart from Tiffany?
So Tiffany kind of took me under her wing and she did a lot of mentoring for me. She gave me a name of a model who is a Ford model. And I actually reached out to her and I paid her for a modeling session. And she gave me all kinds of initial modeling tips and tricks um, for submission. Back when I had very lofty goals of initially submitting to Ford. And she told me immediately for the larger modeling agencies such as Ford, Wilhelmina, those kinds of national agencies, I can tell you they do not generally, as far as I know, ever take green or non ever represented models, meaning they will only take they don't take green people.
Mhm.
So um, that helped me to know right away not to bother, to go ahead and start with a local agency, etc., work my way up, and then maybe submit to Ford after I have a few credits to my name, if you will.
Mhm.
So that was a good piece of advice right then and there. And I met with her. She kind of gave me some information about, the kinds of clothing, the best things to wear as a model. Solid colors are the best. Darker colors, generally, loud prints are not good um, for modeling. You'll notice I'm wearing a solid color.
Mhm.
Um, the Texas market, for
But
instance,
it's green. You said you shouldn't be green.
um,
Are you
for
still at that stage that you're not aiming for 40 yet?
uh, one day I can one day aspire if I don't get too old. Although there is a huge resurgence with um, older models these days. Just so you know, there was a Wall Street Journal article within the past year that talks about a resurgence for middle-aged models. So they're making a comeback.
Yeah. Okay. Because if I would go into that field, I would definitely seek for Tiffany and Emily and ask them for advice, and that would be my starting point. And I know I will not would not be rejected.
Oh wow, thank you.
Yeah. So if I would start today, how soon and to do all the research and seek for the right people, how soon could I expect if, for instance, if I would be lucky to get my first job?
So it really all it all depends. For instance, I can only speak for myself.
Mhm.
I signed, for instance, in May of last year. I had my first paid job in July. So I represented a smart water bottle that lit up, and it was to help people remember to drink. It was for moms on the go, and it was targeted for middle-aged women who are busy moms, working moms, that kind of thing. So it was perfect for me.
Mhm.
And so it was uh, an ad on Amazon, and so I was on Amazon, and so that was really cool, and I loved it, and it was a really fun job. So I signed in May, and I had my first job in July. So a couple months later,
Excellent. Uh,
and
can
I
I?
know.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I have a very another good modeling friend, Cedric. A guy who is a lot younger than me, but he's been with Entourage Model and Talent Agency, my agency, for 3 years now, and he is a rising star. He has done a Home and Garden television commercial, a Bud Light commercial. He just did a Lincoln Navigator commercial. Oh my gosh, I'm only naming a few, but he is all over the place. So um, we're actually meeting, my girlfriend and I, this other model, are meeting with him next week. We're going to try to figure out his secrets, audition tips.
Yeah,
Uh, so, whatever he's doing, we're going to figure it out.
great. Great. So, uh, do you use much of the social media, or do you do it everything basically on the spot and over the phone or mail, or how do you contact these persons from the agencies and uh, possible?
That's a great question. So, social media is very important. I confess it is not my strong suit. I finally got a specific Instagram account for my modeling about 6 months ago at Tiffany Corbett's urging, to promote myself,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I wasn't doing that. A lot of people think models want to be out there and want to show themselves off. I don't like to do that. I'm not comfortable with that, which is kind of ironic considering modeling, you're supposed to be out there and have people take photos, etc. of you. So, um, but my Instagram account, I for modeling, it's Emily Malerich 16, uh, which is my Instagram account for modeling. In case you wish to follow me,
Mhm.
please do. I'd love to have some followers. I have very few.
Okay.
But I use that to show the jobs that I've been on and all of the photography that I have for my portfolio. And that's exactly what I do. I post the behind the scenes from my print work, for the websites that I've done, as well as the auditions, et cetera, et cetera. And so that is something that is huge. You're supposed to self promote all the time, because a lot of the casting agents, they go on to the socials, they check you out, they see where you're working, they can see all of that as well. And
Mhm.
so they'll look at you for future jobs,
Mhm.
and so they can look into that as well, and so that's huge. My agent will contact me and say, here, I have an audition for you. And I'm told that a lot, sometimes that is from, say, a social media. They might have seen me. Tiffany has done a lot of photography for me,
Mhm.
some bridal work, etc. And she has said, David's Bridal saw you on Instagram, for instance. So that's how they utilize social media.
Mhm. And what channel do you think that Instagram is the best way? Uh,
That's what I utilize. I'm also have a Facebook, um, Emily Malrich 16, on Facebook. That's also another good one.
mhm.
I primarily use Instagram.
Mhm.
I'm sure other people may use other social media.
Mhm.
Instagram's probably the one that's probably most widely
For,
utilized, to
for,
my knowledge.
mhm. 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 Excellent. Okay, can you tell us, I don't know, something more? I'm quite out of questions because really is, it really is, some different world for me.
No problem.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I can let you know what you should bring in your modeling bag when you go on a job, for anybody who's interested in getting into modeling. I can tell you that you should always be over prepared for any job that you go on. Tiffany taught me that.
Mhm.
Uh, you should bring a huge bag. If they tell you, for instance, let's say you're going on an activewear shoot, meaning you're going to be modeling things for, say, joggers or bicyclists, bring many, many different outfits. Even if they tell you that they're going to have the clothing there for you, you want to be prepared. You
Mhm.
want to be the person that has anything extra just in case.
Mhm.
You want to bring all different kinds of, say, running shoes, just in case they might not have your size. Bring a lint brush, bring a hairbrush. I always have all my makeup with me. I always have hair ties, water, snacks, anything you can think of, because you could be there all day. You have no idea what you're walking into, and you want to be fully prepared for whatever happens. And it's the same goes with, say, an evening wear shoot. You want to have your undergarments, you want to have 5 or 6 different options so that the director or the client can feel really confident, because I can tell you that that's happened. I came and they said, "Oh, do you have I didn't bring this. I completely forgot this." And you're Johnny on the spot and you have what they need,
Mhm.
and they'll use you next time.
Yeah.
They'll think this person was prepared, and always be early,
Hmm.
just like any other job.
Yeah. And be easy to work with.
Be very easy to work with.
Yeah.
Always be very easy to work with, and friendly.
Yes.
Always have a smile,
It always pays up, and it's also good for you, I think. Yeah.
because you always want to be working.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Always want that next job.
Yeah. Excellent.
So those are some of the things that I would say. Oh, one thing I would say, another tip that Tiffany told me is, whenever they say to smile, that people say cheese, smiles, or at least in the States, they say cheese.
Hmm.
A little modeling tip is to say, think of the word whiskey when you smile, because that will help you have a beautiful smile. So say whiskey, and that helps you have a beautiful smile.
Okay.
A
Great.
little, a little tip.
Mhm. From the professionals.
I'm a moderate professional.
Okay.
Still a newbie.
Yeah, the next time you have to change the color of your outfit. You shouldn't wear green anymore.
No green? You don't
No,
care for it?
you said you shouldn't be green.
That's true. I'll be a consummate, no longer an amateur. I'll be an old professional.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Really, I enjoyed this talk. It was lovely. It was a lot of great information. I hope you will inspire a lot of young and semi-young girls and boys to join this profession.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah,
I love chatting with you.
yeah, great. Thank you and goodbye.